The not quite 4 miler, National Hunt Chase time now, a race that often, we've just talked off air, often by now we'd have a very good handle on what's going where. We've had a horse that was favourite at one point go and get beat in an American Grand National. It's a bit of a mess this year. Maybe since they changed the distance, and they changed the rider rules and all that sort of stuff, they've ruined the race a little bit. But anywho, we're going to have a look at it. We're going to see if we can pick it apart. For what it's worth, I have bet, and I think I've tipped up as well, Manella Kuna for this race. Had its chase debut over Christmas, so I'm pleased to see that the horse was actually out. That's just a massive box tick in the first instance. Thought it travelled and ran quite well, to be fair, over a trip that I would hope was not far enough for it if I wanted to be in this type of race. I'm still fairly keen on that horse having a genuine chance in here, but not with any amount of confidence, I'll be honest with you. But I still think he's good. I think he's a reasonable price. That would be as far as I could go in terms of liking anything. There are plenty towards the top of the market that I would take issue with. But again, without enough substance to say, really, I want to be taken on a 12-1 shot because I don't think it's good enough when it's a 12-1 shot. You don't want to be tipping up 1 to 12 shots, do we? Paul, I've touched on this before we started speaking. This is a race you might have had a few bets in. Have you had a few bets in it? And have you got the winner of it?
Yeah, yes and yes, I think. So, look, I would quite like Manella Cocoon if I thought he was going to come here, and I'd want to see him second time as well, actually. I just don't think he's going to send him here. No. I think, actually, he's either going to go over a shorter trip or maybe not even come over at all. But you start to look at the hand that Willie's got, and you have to figure out what might come here. Embassy Gardens is the obvious one. He's quite short now, I think. Was he about 6-1 or something?
8-1 time of recording, but 4-1 non-one and no bet. So that's the reality of it.
I just don't like him at all, really. I think people jumped on him from that. Was it the season 2 seasons ago when Willie won all the Leopardstown bumpers over Christmas, and Embassy Gardens did he win or finish second in one of them against another one of his good ones? But it was a bit of a talking horse then. People sort of jumped on him, liked him, but he did nothing over hurdles last season, really. Running the Albert Bartlett, and just didn't look like any kind of racehorse, really. Nothing more than an average handicapper. He's come back this season, and he was beaten by anything at half decent comfortably. He's come back this season. He's won that novice chase, but there was nothing behind him. When he won by 5 or 6 lengths. He won cosily enough, but he beat literally nothing. And then all of a sudden, he's that price for the National Hunt Chase. I just can't have him. I really can't have him. Nick Rockett looks to me as though he's a genuine Grade 2 horse. He's the one that I think probably will come here when you start to look at what they've got for the Brown Advisory with Grange Clare West, and what's the other one for the Browns?
Fact to file.
Fact to file. I don't think he'd lay a glove on those two. So, and I think they'd know that as well. So I think, no doubt, Patrick will be pestering for him as the ride in the National Hunt Chase. And if he goes to the National Hunt Chase, I'll give him a really big chance. Elliot's got both 3-card Bragg and Favre de Champ both been talked about going there now. 3-card Bragg, not sure he's ever really done anything that would get me very excited, if I'm honest.
Agreed.
Max McNeil likes talking his horses up, and he's talked that one up for the National Hunt Chase. I just don't agree with him, really. 3-card Bragg, I put him in the same kind of category, really. As soon as he comes up against something decent, he gets beaten quite easily. So, that would work me back to Salvador Ziggy as being the stable number 1. He's got the rating for the race. You have to ignore what happened in America in the at Far Hills. It came back a sick horse. They say that he had a reaction to the Lasix. They gave him while he was over there. The campaign he's had is very typical of Gordon Elliott for this race. Run him early, get the experience into him, give him the winter months off, bring him back on the better ground, bosh, go and win the race. So he still strikes me as the most likely winner, if I'm honest. But he's got a bit forgotten about. What's his price now? 14s, 16s, might even be a bit of 20s around. What price is he, Dave?
So on the exchanges, so you can get bits on there, you can get 20s, but even without the exchanges, 16s top price, 10 to 1 non-runner money back though.
So I don't think I'd worry about no run and no bet. I think it's always been his target. So he's not going to run him in the Ultima off 156 or whatever he's rated now, 154 or 156. So I don't think he'll go there. So you'd be taking 16 to 1 if you were back in now, which is bigger than the 14s that I'm on previously, sadly. But couple of other horses that I could probably think about. Affordale Fury, if he could jump, I'd be interested in. I'd want to see him one more time before I can back him. If he came out next time and jumped well, I think I'd probably get interested. The one that I would be very, very interested in if he actually came here, because I think Gavin Cromwell, despite the really good season he's having this season, has got this horse completely wrong, is Let's Be Clear About It. I think he's an out-and-out stayer. I think he wants a trip. He got away with that 2.5 mile race where he beat Envoyal on fitness. And I think they just got a bit giddy. Thinking 2.5 miles, he can go win a Brown Advisory. He can't win a Brown Advisory. He's not in the same class. He's a really good grade 2 horse, and he'll stay. And he's 40 to 1. What is no run and no bet price?
Let's be clear about it for the non-runner no bet. I mean, he's a way down. He is not quoted with Hill, so we'd have to get him quoted. But I reckon they chuck him in at 25s.
Yeah. So there you go. So if somebody wants to go and ask for a price, I think that's probably a bet. So I might even just split my stake between 25s and the 40s that's available with a run, because I think Cromwell has to figure that out at some point. Has to realise he hasn't got a grade 1 horse.
Yeah, that's it. And it's a good race, to be fair. There's one of these, again, from the prices that we're talking about. It's 10 to 1 bar Embassy Gardens, 14 to 1 bar a couple, because we haven't going to have Meeting of the Waters might come, but who knows. You could easily have 3 or 4 in this. Again, from a sensible perspective, I know people from Pride want to just nail it down to 1 dart. Paul's mentioned a few in there. Jamie, I've got to ask you, when we did a show earlier in the season, we gave away a free bet and they lumped it on Sandor Clegane. I still haven't posted the slip. I've actually got it sat just there, so I can peel it out for him. But Sandor Clegane, is he still the National Hunt Chase winner? Or is there a couple or a few you could suggest that you would want to bet at this point?
Well, I presumed, Paul Nunn is a man of his word, and he'll definitely run here. Am I confident? No. He's probably better off going right-handed. I was a bit disappointed in that race. The Florida Pearl, wasn't it? Behind February de Champdoux, when February de Champdoux ran away with him. The thing about Sandor Clegane was, I thought if you watch back to Albert Bartlett, he should have won the race last year. I thought he was giving a terrible ride, and not bemoaning Sean O'Keefe because he won the race, but the year before was a nice guy. It's just he got his positioning all wrong. And the only thing is,
remember, off that mark for the Irish National, though, wouldn't he?
Oh, he will, 100%.
He wants to go rounded.
He wants to go rounded.
That's the race for him.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for giving it away, Paul. But no, I'd be worried about him left-handed, Dave, to be honest with you. That's my only crib about him. But I agree with Paul on 100% that, if Salvador Ziggy is not feeling the effects of the Lasix, basically poisoned the poor horse, that he hasn't feel the effects of the Lasix, and that they get him back. And it's a typical, 153, 154 horse. He's miles clear better than these guys. And I think 16 to 1 is a great bet. And it's the experience of the rest is huge, to be honest with you. And agree to Kuna, to be honest with you, I didn't think he really stayed in the Albert Bartlett that year. And he was keen enough the year the nice guy beat him. And I think he's a 2.5 miler. But the way he jumped last day at Leopardstown wouldn't be. Look, I know it was his second run, wasn't it, over the fences? He kind of hopped up in the air, and some of them, do you know what I mean? That put me off straight away. Broadway Boy will probably run here. No, English horse won't win this. 3 car brag, agree with Paul. Max McNeil brings up these
But what-
horses big time.
But what about Monty Star then? Because I know there was a wrong price discrepancy between them when they ran against each other in the.
I totally agree with you there.
But he's a Brown
I think-
Advisory horse, surely.
Yeah,
I'd
Monty
say,
Brown
oh, 100% he's a Brown Advisor. There's no way they're going to send him here because they think he's potentially to be a Gold Cup horse down the line when he's there.
Exactly.
Especially with the connection.
Well, Maloney's
I couldn't have-
said so, hasn't he? Maloney's actually
Mhm.
out and said so. So, you've got to think that's the way they go, and you can't consider him for this race.
NBC Gardens wouldn't touch like Paul said in a million years. Like it has to be the later race, doesn't it? He's beaten.
So if you could have two or three darts, I'll let you have. You choose how many you want. Who are your darts for the National Hunt Chase?
Oh, the two darts for me at the
Ziggy?
moment are Ziggy and definitely Nick Rockett. It's just the way Nick Rockett came home the last day in Ferry House that impressed me. And they've always kind of touted him in the back of their head that this is the horse for the National Hunt Chase. Yeah. And a lot of people have put him up for the Browns. I think he's good enough to be a Browns. Exactly what Paul said. He's a grade 2 horse. Yep. And this is what the horse they want for it. And this is what Patrick wants. And it'd be Nick Rockett. It's Nick Rockett versus Ziggy for me at the moment. At the moment, now we could be talking absolute different story when it comes to when we do it in March.
The 10 up, eh?
Yeah, that's true, yeah. At Navan. But at the moment, it'll be Ziggy and Nick Rockett.
Fair enough. Paul, if I had to, you could have two or three.
Same two.
Oh my
exactly.
God, you balls deep.
Exactly.
I have already suggested Kuna. If it was right now and someone said to me, would you bet Kuna for the National Hunt Chase? I'd say no. I'd leave it. He's never going to go short for the race, is he?
It was just the way he came after the second last. He wasn't on my radar at all yet, Nick Rockett. I put that, which I'm not telling lies. He was not on my radar until I saw that at Ferry House the weekend. I thought, oh yeah, definitely. There's a bit there. Do you know what I mean?
But he's 14's top price. He's 7-1 non-runner money back. This is where, again, we talk about the non-runner money back, right? Where the percentages gets changed. The way they've got this priced up, you've got 3 or 4 horses at 4 or 5 to 1 for the race. It's a woeful race from that perspective. Grow a pair of balls and just back a couple to win or a few darts to win, or just wait till nearer the time, because it is a race that even on the bloody day, you could get your carefully selected or these short price ones that just get turned over anyway, can't you? I miss the days when we just wait for Jamie Codd to be jocked up, like on the Broy, all that sort of stuff. They were the bets to have, weren't they? But what do we do now? He's not riding.
Just to add to what I said before, Dave, let's be clear about it. If they're priced no run, no bet, with the Hills, that would be the third one.
Awesome. Well, I think we've got that race pretty much sewn up, and it's hard to be confident this far out, but at the prices we put them in at, I think they are fairly juicy. That does wrap up day one. We'll be back again, start off Wednesday.